Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to Seer Council Plus Plus, the show in which we talk all things aeldari. The weekend just gone, we held a 6 Invitational RTT featuring all the friends of the team as well as some of our own teammates. It was a really fun day. People took it in different levels of seriousness, with some great lists there and maybe some more fun ones. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to try out the new Harlequins for the very first time. How did I get on? Let's find out. Okay, so in this episode, I'm just going to be talking through my thoughts on Harlequin list building and sort of the approaches you can take. Then I'm going to run through my gains and analysis and just kind of explain my thought processes, what went well, what didn't, all that sort of thing, and then obviously finish off with my takeaways. Before I dive in, though, shout out to Gambit Gaming for providing us with these beautiful t-shirts. If you're a Harlequins fan, look at that. Look at that logo. Beautiful. Really high quality stuff. Go check out Gambit Gaming for t-shirts and hoodies and all that sort of thing. Right, so Harlequin list building. I think there are a few decision points you want to make when you're building a Harlequin list, and these are sorts of stages that I went through. So first of all, I think thematically you need to make a decision, right? You need to decide: am I going pure Harlequins, or am I happy with having some aeldari elements? And then am I just having some token elements, or am I actually trying to build like a cohesive force? So you kind of need to make that decision to begin with, because obviously if you're going to be going pure Harlequins, then there are certain other units you're definitely going to be having to take. To brick or not to brick, and by brick I mean a unit of 10, 11, 12 Harlequins. Again, that is a decision. I think there are lots of different ways you can go about it. I hear stories of people taking like 3 bricks, no bricks. So yeah, you kind of, do you want that element in your list? That's a decision you're going to need to make. And then another thing you're going to need to be deciding is, do you want Skyweavers and Void Weavers? Now, these are things that you are going to have to include if you want to be pure Harlequins, just because of points. They're overcosted for what they do. So that's going to be a decision. Like me personally, I have zero interest in taking Void Weavers. I think they're a complete waste of time. And just the amount of points they are is just an absolute joke. And even Sky Weavers, I don't particularly rate for their points either. But if you were going pure Harlequins, then you were going to have to go down that route. I decided I wasn't that fussed about being pure Harlequins. I was happy to add some aeldari once I got the pure core of my list. So I ended up taking the following. I had 2 Troop Masters, one with Coil, and then had the Death Jester with the Murderous Enhancement, Solitaire, and I had a Shadow Seer who went with a block of 11 troops. And I had 5 units of 5 troops, which all went in a Star Weaver. And then I had my aeldari section. So I had 2 units of Fire Dragons just for that anti-tank. And they always started in the Wave Serpent. And I had a unit of Striking Scorpions and a unit of Shroud Runners. Now, this was just a very mini little idea that if I went first in the right matchup on the right board, that they can screen out a huge area. They can do a mini jail, so to speak, for the first turn. They can just block someone in. Harlequins are all about primary denial, this style of list. The idea being, I'm going to keep throwing units over and stealing your objectives, putting you on low scores on primary. I'm not that fussed about killing. I've got some killing power. I've got the tricks, but just a little jail could be an option. It didn't actually work because we played 2 diagonal deployments and a Dawn of War style deployment, so it was never really an option. And yeah, I think it probably isn't quite right in hindsight. But that was the list. As I said, the goal was kind of primary denial, score my points. Not going to kill much, but who cares? I'd never played Harlequins before with the new book, so realistically, my first 3 games with them going in, I don't have any expectations. I'm just looking to learn the rules. Are they fun to play? Can I see some tricks? Can I start to get my head around how the army could play again? It's been a long time since I played Harlequins, and obviously things have changed a bit. But yeah, I was looking forward to the challenge. So, round 1, I drew Necrons Star Shatter, playing Lewis, who is actually one of the owners of Darkfire Cafe in St Albans. Great place. Very, very good player. He's been taking a break from the scene, but historically he's been a top-end tournament player. He actually said he had planned on taking almost my exact list to this event, but I just hadn't got any reps in, and he'd found Harlequins really hard to play. So that filled me with confidence. We were playing Burden of Trust, which is a fun time for everyone, isn't it? And his list was an interesting one because it was Star Shatter and it was quite dense, right? So he's got Silent King, he's got 2 Doomsday Arcs, he's got the Deceiver, and he's got a couple of units of the anti-chaff heavy destroyers, and he's got a couple of flayed ones, Hexmark Destroyer, Royal Warden, a couple of units of Tomb Blades, and that's it. So going in, I'm like, well, if I can just kill the chaff quite quickly, get around the edges, get into them, wipe that out, then he has to start playing the mission with his hard to kill, but the killy stuff as well. So that was kind of like my plan. But obviously, Silent King's got indirect, which is a bit of a pain. I don't have a great way of dealing with the Deceiver or any Catan particularly, unless I get lucky. Silent King's obviously incredibly stodgy. So it doesn't feel like a great matchup. And then I got to go first, which, as we know, Burden of Trust sucks. So I'll just talk you through the game. I got first turn. In the top left-hand corner, he had a unit of flayed ones and a unit of Tomb Blades. I sent over a boat and some guys, and I picked up the Tomb Blades. My goal here is that, because he's redeployed, his Silent King, his 2 Doomsday Arcs are over on the right-hand side, looking towards to go down to the bottom right-hand corner. So what I've got to do is now I've got to take the top left-hand corner if I want to maintain a game that's close in primary. So I kind of began that by trying to clear it away. I then just moved some Scorpions forward and tried to move block for the Deceiver that was in the middle of the board. And I scored area denial and extend battle lines like that. It was a good draw. On his turn, he did what you'd expect. He just piled everything forward towards my natural expansion objective. The Deceiver managed to shoot and kill just the right amount to then be able to charge in combat and get across to the middle objective and sit there. He kind of didn't quite realise or know about the fight on death. And that actually hurt him because in the top left-hand corner, the flayed ones charged into the troop. I fought on death, wiped the whole unit, and my troop master was still alive. So I actually got some primary there. He told me he played Harlequin, so I just assumed that I didn't need to go through the rules. But then he forgot about the fight on death, so I felt bad. But we discussed it, and he said, "No, don't worry, it's fine. I wouldn't have done anything differently." And then we're on turn 2, and there's this Deceiver just sat in the middle of the board, and I'm like, what do I do? I can run out and just deny primary, but that's just literally throwing away a 5-man. I could try and go all in on the Deceiver, put everything into him, but if that fails, I then just lose half my army next turn. I can't deny primary on the bottom right corner because he's got there, so I kind of have a bit of a passive turn again. I just go and clear the top left-hand corner, stick a boat on it with some guys inside it, and just kind of wait for the heavy destroyers to drop down. He drops 1 unit in the top left, 1 in the bottom right, and drops the hex mark on if you see either side of the middle objective, there's bits of cover on. The one on the left-hand side, hex mark destroyer goes there. And in his face, he manages to do his hex mark destroyer does 4 wounds to my Death Jester, and I promptly fail all 4 saves. CP reroll made it, so Death Jester's alive on 1 wound. Other than that, he just clears out the bottom right-hand corner. So I'm done in the bottom right-hand corner. My life is kind of Boring. Boo. Not to worry. Now I've got to try and make plays elsewhere. So turn 3 is my, I guess you say, go turn in theory. My goals are quite simple. I'm going to clear the locusts, so it destroys out in the top left-hand corner. The Solitaire blitzes over to his deployment zone to take out 5 flayed ones and get me behind enemy lines. That will also achieve clearing a space on that board edge for the rapid ingress of my big brick, which can then go and charge onto his home field. And obviously I'm going to pick up the Hexmark Destroyer in the middle of the board. Those are the goals. I shoot my Star Weaver into the Hexmark Destroyer and don't kill it. He shoots back and my Star Weaver on 2 wounds dies. So that's a good start. I then fire my Wave Serpent into the Hexmark Destroyer. Nothing. I then fire my Death Jester into the Hexmark Destroyer. And still he is left alive on 1 wound and I have nothing else to shoot. So stage 1, massive failure. Then I've charged in my Troop Master into the Locust Destroyers. I've managed to shoot them a bit. I've managed to grenade them. The Troop Master misses with all of his attacks. I think he hits once. No, twice. He then wounds once. I'm like, wow, I literally can't even kill this final destroyer now. Like, okay, cool. CP reroll, get a 6, cause a death wound. He fails the other save. Boom, they're dead. I'm like, okay, well, at least I've killed these guys. At this point, Lewis interrupts with the 2 flayed ones. He's got them spread out, but he can get 2 flayed ones into the side there. I've done the maths, so it's fine. I don't care. He'll survive this. Lewis causes 6 wounds with the 2 flayed ones, and I fail 5 of the saves. And I can't CP reroll. No, I would be able to anyway. I can't get him back up because I've run out of CP. It's just like, okay. It's cost me behind enemy lines. It's cost me creating the space. I've managed to fail at getting this Hexmark Destroyer, which is now going to get to shoot again and Overwatch again later on. And yeah, the game just went downhill from there. It felt bad. Talking about it afterwards to Lewis, he said maybe I could have just thrown the Fire Dragons out to try and kill the Silent King or hurt the Silent King over turn 1, turn 2, and just like cause that as a threat. Turn 4, I did decide to go for the Deceiver kill, so I put out like a unit of troops, a Troop Master, and the 2 dragons. I grenaded, I fired everything, and I did like 6 wounds. Wasn't even going to kill it in combat, and I was like, it's just no point. So yeah, frustrating game, 92-56 loss. Certainly there were moments where I was like, oh, and then he moves here, and then I get back in the boat, and this is a really cool play. And you could start to see around the edges of the brain. I was like, oh, there's some nice combos here. But this game really emphasised with me, if you try and play across the board, you try and primary deny and do some killing and do your secondaries, you're really gonna struggle if you get it wrong. And it's my first game, so I wasn't beating myself up. It was a bad matchup as well, I think. Lewis agreed. But yeah, not ideal. So round 2, I played Blood Angels, and I played a lovely guy called Charlie. Charlie is a coaching client of Tom's. And Tom was also there, not playing. He was like a ringer. And at which point I was just like, well, why don't we just make it a coaching game? Tom, you can sit in on the game, sit with Charlie. Charlie can do his things, talk aloud. You can adjust things on the fly as you play, and just treat it as a coaching game. I don't care. I'm just here just to play some Harlequins. So that's what we did. His Blood Angel list was just a mix of all the good stuff. So he had a Sanguinary Guard unit. He had a with Fights First captain. He had Blade Guard Vet squad with Fights First. He had a Vindicator, a couple of Predators, a Ballistus, some Scouts, some JPI, that sort of thing. Just a bit of everything. He was Scorched Earth, and I was like, well, I'm going to try and play my natural game here. Obviously, the worst case scenario for me is all of the Blood Angels just run straight at me and I can't kill enough and I run through them. And that's my concern here. So how did it go down? Wow. Charlie got first turn, kind of stuck a couple of units on his natural expansion objective, bottom right hand corner, and just kind of said over to you. I dogpiled my top left hand corner with quite a few things, and then I sent a troop unit over to the his natural expansion objective, where I was going to try and kill the JPI and the scouts. I managed to kill most of the JPI in shooting, and then charged with Chigrex Crawl and wiped out the rest with the charge move. Then boom, the Sanguinor came down. I think Sanguinor picked up like 3 of the troops, and then I just poked the Sanguinor back and did like half damage to him. Over the next turn, we developed a pattern basically where Charlie then didn't really attack my natural expansion objective. He just kind of tried to knock me off the bottom right hand. I rapidly ingressed a big brick on the bottom of the board and then pushed that up and just wiped out that objective and sat there. I was just trying to cause a problem. I'm going second. I've got the opportunity for big burns later on. I'm just going to try and really create that primary disadvantage for him. And that's kind of the way I want to play this game. And it keeps saying, no, don't come near my natural expansion objective. It's really scary. I mean, it's very obvious he was going to go for it. So on that objective, I had set up some scorpions to kind of block the space, 2 Star Weaver boats, one of which was empty and had 5 troops sat on it, hiding up against a wall, and then another boat which was full. So I had a lot of OC there, a lot of potential stuff. And turn 3, Charlie discussed how he was going to try and attack me. He knew he was down. He needed to push out. And he kind of had this play that he thought of. I'd been a bit lazy with my screening. I hadn't really thought about it. I'd assumed the Vindicator he had in Strat Reserve would come at the top of the board edge and to help attack my natural expansion. What he decided to do was put it basically where that 20 is at the bottom of the board. And he was going to shoot in and try and kill my Wave Serpent. Now, his reasoning was, if he kills the Wave Serpent, the Fire Dragons get out the back. Then he has got a Blade Guard who have moved from the middle room and out towards my middle room. And the Sand Guard have flown over to my natural expansion objective. He's going to try and kill my Fire Dragons. And then the Sand Guard are going to deal with everything over on my top objective. Tom and I are a bit like, mathematically this plan doesn't work. Like, the Vindicator doesn't kill the Wave Serpent. And then you've got your Blade Guard running in and chopping up a Wave Serpent. You're not going to get far enough around the Fire Dragons to pop out. Your Sand Guard aren't going to be able to pick up everything on that objective. And then I'm going to have a turn of killing the Sand Guard, move blocking the Blade Guard. They can punch something pointless to death, and then I'll kill the Blade Guard, and then you've got nothing left, and I've got the primer. But then, conversely, like when you're down, you have to go for these plays, and that was, you have to play to your outs, right? I've had games where my only outs would make 4 9-inch charges on my final turn, and I rolled 4 9s. It happens. Got to identify your outs and play to them. It's exactly what Charlie did. At which point, the Vindicator did 18 damage to my Wave Serpent and blew it wide open. So both Tom and I were like, wow, fair play. Then the Blade Guards came in and were able to kill the Solitaire and then tag the Fire Dragons just. Then the 6 Sand Guard, not quite sure how, but managed. He rolled a 12 on the charge, which meant he managed to get into all the useful places and managed to kill every single thing that he put fight attacks onto the expansion objective. And in the space of 1 turn, I've gone from, I would say, probably like a 65-70% chance of winning the game to like a 10%, 5% chance of winning the game. Just got absolutely blown wide open. I then did, as I said, I move block the Blade Guard. I put all my remaining army into the Sand Guard and killed I killed 1. And then I charged with a load of units, covered all the angles, based them, did the classic, this is how I get around the fights first type stuff. And just everything died. Everything that could be attacked just died. It didn't go very well. And it ended up a quite crushing defeat, 49-18. So yeah, I guess I could have been better with my positioning on my natural expansion objective. Really locked that one down. But it is what it is. The math says that a wave serpent doesn't die. Fun fact: I decided to roll it out for myself. I rolled it out 20 times of Vindicator shooting into a wave serpent with oath. Rolled it out 20 times, and I killed the wave serpent once. So yeah, it isn't that likely. But as I said, you got to play to your odds. So fair play to Charlie. He did that and he pulled it off. So it's a good win for him. This felt frustrating because this was a game with two halves, right? I controlled the first half of the game and then I just lost it in the second. So clearly, I could have done things better. I mean, I could have screened out that Vindicator for starters. The only reason I didn't was because I positioned the boat so that at the end of the fight phase in my turn, my Troop Master could get into the boat because he was on his own. He'd already died once. He was only on 2 wounds. I just didn't want to risk like an Overwatch or something. So I wanted that positioning. So that's what left the little gap for the Vindicator. And he put Inceptors in the bottom left hand corner. So I had spread out my troop who were back there to go and deal with them. So yeah, I just didn't quite get it right. But hey, when you're learning new rules, you're not going to get the play right, are you? All the time. So I did some things which I was quite happy with. It was nice to get into that old pattern of destroying primary and that. But yeah, I didn't quite get it right. So fair play to Charlie. And then finally, I've lost 2 games. Surely it's time for a nice easy one. Well, oh no, I now get to play Mordaka. You may have heard of Mordaka. Some people think it's quite good. Now, I should be clear here. It was Mordaka featuring a Stomper and 2 Gorkanauts. And when you take a Stomper at 800 points and 2 Gorkanauts, you don't have much room for anything else. So I think he had a unit of Gretchen, 2 units of Looters, a unit of Boys, and a unit of Storm Boys. I think that's it. I had literally no idea how this game goes. In my head, I'm like, well, I can't kill these big things, so this could be bad. I put my army out. I try and kill the big things. I fail, and then I just die. That's how I was thinking. Dave was an absolutely lovely guy. He wanted to kind of get through the game quite quickly, and literally just deployed his stuff whilst I was just like sorting myself out. I was just like, right, you can deploy where you want. I was like, fair enough. So I think I probably played it in a bit of a loose and free spirit, far more than I usually would. And it turned out that was absolutely the right thing to do. So most of my army is positioned behind the middle L. He's got a Gorkanaut and the Stomper up at the top end of the board, and he's got another Gorkanaut in the bottom corner. I basically just say, whatever, you're just going to run and take my natural expansion objective. Sod this, I'm going the other way. So I go first. My Shroud Runners pile forward and shoot and kill the Gretchen. My Striking Scorpions move forward and kill the Storm Boys. Over to you, sir. The Shroud Runners have move blocked the Gorkanaut, so he can't get over to his natural expansion objective. So the poor Shroud Runners and obviously the Striking Scorpions die, and it's my turn. I was giving it all out. I was like, I'm going to kill the Stomper this turn. I'm going to try and kill the Stomper. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, actually, you know what? Nah, I'll just kill the 2 Gorkanauts. And at that point, I piled out my entire army. Every unit that could got out of a boat and was next to a Gorkanaut. And the boats were all there as well. And it was just, everything was out. And it was just really cool. It was like this, poker terms, just all in. And the first Gorkanaut dropped to the 2 units of Fire Dragons. The second Gorkanaut dropped to a lot of combat. Then, just like that, the army vanished into their boats. Just like that. Oh, God. So Dave is left with a Looters in a truck, another unit of Looters that he drops down in the bottom middle of the board, and the Stomper sat in the middle of the board. That's basically it. He picks up a couple of units. And then we see, like, can I kill a Stomper? Which was on like 25 wounds at the time. And yeah, good. And he was tabled turn 3, basically. Had like 10 a few Gretchen left on the back home field where the Solitaire was just poking them slowly. And yeah, it was very much a non-game, not really one to talk about tactically, apart from the fact that it showed that if you can coordinate your assault into your opponent in such a way that you can bring to bear. What I found with the Harlequins was that I was very rarely getting to shoot them because they kind of get out, they'd run over to a unit behind a wall, they'd charge and try and punch them, and their damage is not good, right? With no Falcons for rerolls, only a 5-man. +1 to wound just makes it 5s into 4s. With no rerolls or anything, like it just wasn't effective. I think I worked out it only kills like 2 or 3 Marines. You have to be getting that grenade and that shooting to bear to kill a bit more, and I wasn't able to do that very often. But in this game, everything went out. I positioned all my boats nicely, hopped back in, did my stuff. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, really, a bit of a weird game because it wasn't a game. And I felt really bad for Dave. But at the same time, there was like this element of, see, this is what could be done. You know, when you play a bit more carefree with them, get it right. So what did I learn? Well, boy, Harlequins are unforgiving. You can certainly get it wrong and get punished massively for that. Output was just, I mean, I know they're death by 1,000 cuts, but it really was sad. And as so many people have said, the resilience is just not there. Like, you literally just are constantly picking up models. It's a bit embarrassing, really. There are some cool tricks there. You know, you've got obviously some decent stratagems. You've got the agile tokens. There are some things there, and like you can see these little combos that you can pull with the retreating and getting back into boats and stuff that makes you feel like a god. The problem is that you can pull off all these tricks and you still just get punched in the face and drop down. So they are really hard to use. I think it's definitely an army that you're gonna need lots of reps with, but you can see the potential. Or if you're a really, really strong player, you can definitely see how you can do well with them. So yeah, in terms of my own list and thinkings, the blob is so expensive, and all it does is just probably kill the thing that you want to go into, but you wouldn't if it was that deliberate. I mean, and then it just dies. That's the main problem. Like, unless you're able to position it and get it in the right spot every time, it just dies, and I don't think it's worth the points. Everyone says that mathematically blades are best because of the extra attack and the dev wounds. Strength 3 -1/1 damage is so anemic. And you know what? Quite a lot of the time, if I'd had that strength 4 with +1 to wound, I'd been winning all 3s, and that probably just would have felt better. So I think I would probably try special weapons next time rather than blades. I had a boat and 5 guys sat on my backfield. That didn't feel great. And that felt like a waste of points, to be honest with you. So I'd probably put a unit of rangers in just to hold that. A new list I've built, I would drop the blob and turn it into a 5-man with a Starweaver. I get rid of the Shroud Runners and the Death Jester enhancement. Shout out to the Death Jester for achieving literally nothing in this game. I don't think I rolled a single 6. I never got to shoot anything below. Obviously, he's a low knot, which is useful. Also, special shout out to Troop Master and Solitaire. In the old days, my Troop Master and Solitaire had a reputation for being utter garbage and constantly failing, and they achieved that this Saturday. Just did nothing. So yeah, if I drop those things, so I basically don't have the blob. I just have a normal 5-man and boat. If I don't have the Shroud Runners and the Death Gesture enhancement, get a unit of Rangers and a Wraith Lord instead. Wraith Lord for helping primary, just being a stodgy thing. Rangers for holding your backfield. Quite like that little switch. And then the other argument is Falcons, right? Like, you put Falcons, a Troop Master and 5 in a Falcon, they get out. The full rerolls, especially for the shooting, that if you can get that, I think that's really powerful. It's just what do you drop there to get that in? That's the sort of things. Well, Falcons would be no Wraith Lord and Rangers instead. So yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how's your Harlequin journey going on. We have a very busy Discord with over 750 people in. And one of those people in that Discord is a chap from the channel Exile Wargaming. Now, I wanted to give Exile Wargaming a shout out. As far as I have seen, according to my YouTube recommendations anyway, it's one of main guys playing Harlequins at the moment are talking about it online. He does really good battle reports where he just has a photo of the phases and talks through the what he thought and how it went down. And we just went to a GT recently where he did really, really well, got to the final basically. Clearly playing really well with Harlequins at the moment. And when he talks through his games, like, his game plans kind of just make sense and all works out nicely. Certainly achieving far more than I'm capable of at the moment. So special shout out to you, buddy. Also, there's Liam VSL, who I believe has a match on the membership side of 40k Fireside, where he did Harlequins versus Guard, maybe, on a TTS game. And I know he's playing a lot of Harlequins at the moment. I think he's going down the multiple bricks route. He's obviously one of the top players in the world. And he's having fun with Harlequins there. So there is some good stuff out there. Unfortunately, not here. I don't play as much these days because of a baby. And I have got a teams event coming up where I'll be taking Inari. So I've got to try and learn Inari over the next month. Although apparently it's pretty easy to do. We'll see. But I'd definitely like to give the Harlequins another run out. I need to get some more reps and TTS games with them. Maybe I can do that over the coming months and bring it to you. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. Tom and I have plans to do some more aeldari content soon. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Bye-bye. Take care.